Hi, folks, and welcome to Aches and Games, a relaxed monthly check in between two slightly older British friends, talking gaming and basically whatever other nonsense comes to mind. We've been gaming since Horace first went skiing, and you'll currently find us on Xbox, PlayStation 5, plus a bit of PC and Nintendo Switch action. If you enjoy the show, please remember to tell your friends and to like and subscribe. And why wouldn't you? I mean, it's great, isn't it? Through the usual podcast provider. You can also follow the show and get in touch on X, other socials at Aches and Games. That's ACHESANDGAMES. We'd love to hear from you, and we want to see this little community grow. I'm Giles Nicholson. I'm at Giles West on various socials and Xbox and PlayStation Network. And joining me, as always, is my good friend James Hapes. James, I'm going to say Happy New Year, despite the fact that we're actually recording just before New Year's Eve, but this will be published on New Year's Day. So Happy New Year, and do you want to let the people know where they can find you?
Yeah, good evening, Giles. Hopefully it will be a Happy New Year. I'm on various places, as we discussed last time. I can barely remember what they all are, but on social media, it's You Have to Laugh with a 2 instead of a number 2, so the digit 2. That's my general social media parenting blog / anything else type photograph stuff. So You Have to Laugh on all social media. And then on PlayStation, I'm Jamesy Boy 1978, which I had to look up again just now because I can never remember what it is on there because I don't have any friends. So that's what I am on PlayStation Network. All the other ones are taken over by my son Joshua, so they're all his these days. So don't add him on anything else. Just me. That's me.
Lovely. Well, it sounds like a desperate cry for PlayStation friends. So if we've got any PlayStation users listening out there, I know we've some of our, well, I'm going to laughably call regulars after one episode, but some of the people who listen to the first show, I know play on PlayStation. So hit James up. It sounds a bit cool. Well, we can't really talk about our New Year because, like I said, we're recording a few days before. But how was your Christmas, James? What have you been up to?
Largely good. The only downside was we had a family around on Christmas Day, and Sarah's sister came around with a bit of a cold on Christmas Day, and by Boxing Day it turned into a mega cold, and now I have the same mega cold. So I'm a bit snuffly, so apologies for any snuffles, and I'm feeling generally rough. But apart from that, Christmas Day was good. Christmas dinner turned out all right, no disasters there. Came out roughly on time, give or take 30 minutes. The turkey was a little bit pink at first, but it turned a decent colour after we cooked it a bit longer. So everyone was happy. Everyone's a winner. Lots of good presents. Yeah, everyone had a nice time. No complaints.
Oh, cool. Were you cooking Christmas dinner?
Always, yeah. Me and Sarah always do a double act. We always very neatly timetable it all out. We start with the finish time on a bit of paper, work our way back with every start time for each different product, starting with the turkey and the gammon. And we work our way through methodically. So it always comes out perfectly, but it always seems to be 20 odd minutes later than we expected to finish. I'm not quite sure why. And after doing it for 10 years, we've never quite perfected it, but it turns out nicely, so who cares?
That's I mean, that's acceptable margin for error, isn't it? 20 minutes. And if you do it together and don't kill yourself, I think kill yourself. That's a bit drastic. Kill each other, which also probably isn't a good thing, but was more what I was meaning to say. If you're in the same kitchen, high pressure situation, that's pretty impressive.
We always throw in one disaster each year. So this year, the disaster was an entire tub of single cream fell up the fridge and swamped the whole kitchen with our wood flooring well under the fridge as well. So that took a good 30 minutes of mopping up and slipping around afterwards. Comedy style, bit of slapstick. All good.
Oh dear. Yeah, I could kind of picture it, and that sounds like maybe that's where your 20 minutes could have come from if you weren't doing anything else. And we had a nice Christmas, didn't we? We had a sort of pre-Christmas get together.
It was very pleasant, wasn't it? For those who don't know, we went to Herefordshire and stayed in a 5-bedroom house type lodge type place that had a pool table and a table tennis table and a bar and a hot tub and a gym and all sorts of fun things like that. So yeah, we stayed away for a couple of nights with 4 couples and had a jolly decent time, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh, it was great. Well, it would have been really awkward if I'd said we had a nice time away and you sort of come in and said no, that's the worst weekend of my life, Charles. But yeah, no, I thought it was lovely and got very much in the festive spirit. And despite the fact that we've known each other for very many years. As anyone who listened to the first episode will probably know, we don't always get to cross paths so regularly. So yeah, really nice to spend some actual real life in-person time together, as well as getting a chance to do this every month. So
And most importantly, we realised that I still have my table tennis skills from when I was 15, when I was the under-16 table tennis champion of Tyler's Methodist Church. I've still got skills. Delighted.
let's talk about this quickly, because you I mean, if you were younger, I might say prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, back then there's only 2 of us in the under-16 category at the Tyler's Methodist Church, me and my friend Peter, and we took it in turns. One of us would win each year, so I got the under-16 trophy. So I got a bit of silver/bronzeware in the shape of a table tennis racket somewhere at home in the loft. So yeah, good times. That was my sort of sporting peak when I was 15. I've gone horribly downhill from then.
Very nice. Well, I can attest, listeners, that or listener perhaps, that James has still got it very much, and I was not taking it easy. I was not letting him win, and he still whipped my ass. Although it sort of went back and forth a little bit, didn't it?
There's some flow, Charles, but in the end, the correct outcome was secured.
Yes. So branching out, even in our second episode, outside of the video games world, into what is table tennis? I suppose it's an Olympic. Is it Olympic sport? It's a Commonwealth sport, isn't it?
Well, it's definitely a game, and we definitely ached afterwards, so it's kind of perfect for the podcast.
There you go. Tick.
Thank you.
And we played some Cluedo, and your lovely wife Sarah was scarily good at Cluedo.
Yeah, she takes it very seriously.
Understandably, because she's brilliant. If I don't know about the police responding within an hour to every burglary, which was a news story in the UK if you're listening abroad, they're going to try. Spoiler warning, I don't think they're going to manage it, because they don't appear to come almost within a day at the moment. But yeah, if you ever need someone to investigate a crime, I'd highly recommend James's wife Sarah.
As long as it's Mr. Plum and the Conservatory of the Candlestick.
yeah. Which I guess does narrow it down now you mention it. Thought about that. Cool. Okay. Well, that was that was very lovely, and we got to spend some time together. Last time we spoke, let's get some continuity for our listeners. You were having some PC issues. Did you have any luck with that?
No, don't be ridiculous. I casually sent one email to our local PC repair shop, and they didn't reply, and that was the end of it, really.
Right, okay. So would you maybe put some of the responsibility on yourself to maybe send a second email, or is that it? It's dead to you now?
Yeah, I think that's it now, straight in the bin. If they don't reply on the first email, then it's done, isn't it?
That's fair enough. There is only one place as well, probably. So
yeah, and it's only like literally down the road as well, so I could actually walk around there and just take it there. But maybe in the new year. That's my first New Year resolution. If we come to that later, get my PC fixed.
I like it. And you I think you were going to get Joshua a Switch, weren't you, for Christmas?
Yes, that very much happened. Got a Pokemon Special Edition one as well, because it looked a bit cooler. Got some carrots on the front. The docking station looks quite pretty in white with little purple and orange carrots on the front. Very pretty. Yeah, and he loved it. So we've been playing that the last few days. Shall I mention that now that we've been playing it, Giles, or shall I just mention that later?
Yeah, good question, Joe. Should we hold that one for a second, because we're going to talk about what we've been playing. I think the only other thing that we talked about or thought about, because we do kind of plan this out, anyone listening, I know it might not sound like it, but we do have a broad outline. The other thing that's happened this month that I think it's worth talking about, James, is we have had some feedback to our first episode. So hopefully, although we're playing a little bit blind, we'll have to see how it sounds when you listen back to us once we go live. First piece of feedback is we know the microphones were a little bit ropey, so we've shown our commitment to you listeners and got some new microphones, so hopefully that's a little bit more pleasant to listen to. But how do you feel, James, now we're A-list podcasters, possibly?
Yeah, pretty good. I think the general feedback was I wanted more of my voice, as in more loudness. But I took that to mean they want more of me because I'm awesome. So I've interpreted it that way. So that's positive feedback for me.
That's how I took it. I just thought less of Giles and more of James was the rather crushing feedback that I'd received.
Some counts for the CV, isn't
it? Definitely. Are you planning on defecting to Gary Lineker's professional outfit?
He's called a couple of times after the first one. I've been coy so far to see how the second episode goes here, but we'll see. I'm open to anyone, any offers.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm not sure I should be like promoting your shameless self publicity on this pod, but that's fine. I can go solo. It'll just be me. No, I'm sure. Hopefully, you'll stay for at least a couple of episodes while I get my feet under the table. Yeah, we did have really nice feedback, and thank you for your lovely comments. In a sort of break of tradition from the internet, I don't think we actually had any abuse, so I feel a bit left out for that. So if you are listening and you think we're shit, please tell us. That would be great. Just feel like we've really made it. But yeah, I think generally talking about our kind of how we started out in gaming seemed to spark some nice memories for people. So that was really lovely to hear, and to hear about the games that you sort of started with in your own journeys. And then I got one particular piece of feedback, James, that I thought I would read out, see if you recognise who wrote this. It said, actually listen to the podcast. It was quite good.
Yeah, it's good. Good sound feedback, I think.
That listener was my co-host James. It's the sense of surprise in his text that made me chuckle particularly, and also very key that we both listen back to the podcast. Number one, so we could hear how the microphones were holding up or not, but also because that's like 10% of our listeners for the first episode, so we needed to make sure that we got those in as well. So yeah, so thanks for the feedback. Really do appreciate it. If you're listening and you haven't got in touch, please do remember the social channels. We've also got the Gmail account, which I suddenly can't remember, so hopefully I'll have that written down somewhere for later. But we really do appreciate you commenting and letting us know what you think, giving us some ideas in the future. And hopefully, as I said, we will get your contributions. We're always happy to have comments from you, and we'll read them out on the next episode. Right, James, you teased us with what you've been playing. Do you want to talk through some of those Switch games and how you found it, how Joshua's found it? Did all the family get involved?
Yeah. So in the past, a few years ago, we used to play on the Wii, with obviously the Wiimotes on those games like bowling or the low-key sports stuff that people used to enjoy doing, the dancing bits. So we'd hoped that the Switch would have some similar bits, and it did. So we got the Nintendo Switch Sports. Try to say that of a lisp. And we got the associated pack that has the bits of plastic tat in it that you put the Joy-Cons in, like a golf. What do you call them? Golf sticks? Clubs?
I think
call it golf bat.
Them sticks, but people who play golf would probably call them clubs. But yeah, I know what you mean.
And then it's got tennis rackets as well. Rackets is correct.
Impressive. There was a distinct showing off in your voice there, James.
Take every little win when you can. So yeah, that's actually quite good fun. So yeah, me and Josh have been playing tennis together. You can only play doubles, weirdly, on the Switch Sports. So yeah, you can't play singly. So if you play singly, you have to play both people at the same time. But we've been playing it together, and we've managed to beat the super power or whatever the highest level is together. We had a good time doing that yesterday after a lot of annoying defeats. So we won our little golden coloured T-shirt for our characters. So yeah, it's good fun. A bit of volleyball as well was on there. Played a bit of golf. That's a bit tricky, but good fun all round. And we had to go on Mario Kart 8 as well. I've not played Mario Kart at all since I was about 15, 16. So.
Oh, how are you finding it?
So yeah, roughly 30 years ago. It's actually really good. Very similar. If you hadn't played anything else in the last 30 years, you'd easily switch from one to the other because it's the same game, really, isn't it? The graphics are very much better. Obviously, the tracks are more interesting, but the weapons are similar. The characters are similar. You still race around different tracks, doing fun stuff. So it's just as much fun as it was when I was 15, playing around my friend's house who lived above a pub. So yeah, and we've got the little steering wheel controller adapter thingy as well. So you stick the Joy-Con in of that, and you can actually steer around the track using the controller. So that's good fun. Enjoyed it. Good purchase.
Yeah, Yeah, my I played quite a lot of Mario Kart 8 with nephews and nieces and just by myself or with Hannah. And some of the tracks are a lot more like three-dimensional than we probably started on. And I think it's like picking the right track for people who haven't played very often. I think if you can find one which is a lot more just like the old school, quite flat track, even though it's 3D, it's very easy to pick up. And then some of them get kind of a little bit, what's the word, all over the place, really, in terms of going upside down, things like that. And that, with people who haven't played before, that seems to really disorientate them, in my experience.
Yeah, there's lots
Um,
of balls and lots of going underwater and lots of flying around. So yeah, different in that
yeah,
respect. The concept is similar.
did your mum play?
No. She hasn't got involved at all with the Switch so far. She watched us play, but with her bad back and bad knee and bad everything else, any physical activity at the moment is probably not recommended.
Yes, yeah, yeah. My we spent Christmas round at Hannah's folks, and her nephew's really into the Switch, so we played a few things together. But my kind of secret goal, again, I'm sure he won't listen to this podcast, is to secretly kind of train up Hannah's mum, so his grandma, his gran rather, and so that without telling him at all that she's been practicing, she could just say one day, oh, can you show me this? I'll have a go, and then she just absolutely kicks his ass. That's my that's my dream. Or maybe doesn't, because it would be sad, but at least competes. And he's in my imaginary future that I've created for here. He sort of sits there wide eyed and open mouthed at how cool his gran is. That would be pretty awesome. And I think, like, I don't know, he's certainly getting to the age, and I know Joshua's similar age to Ted, that he's getting more and more interested in stuff like that, and probably less interested in the sort of traditional things that he did spend time with Hannah's mum. So I think it'd be really nice, rather than feeling like he's sort of spending more time by himself or drifting away a little bit, to sort of share with him, because that's what brings people together, doesn't it? So that's kind of the plan. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah,
Got legs?
Joshua wants me to find some more two-player games. He loves playing together. There's not that many decent two-player games out there. Like I said, we talked about last time, didn't we? Unravel and It Takes Two were both awesome two-player games. There's not that many out there. We had another look tonight to see if we can find more two-player games on the Xbox. There's not that many aimed at the right age and the right level that are fun. So yeah, it's a bit of a struggle to find stuff that's
No.
suitable, unfortunately.
Yeah, they've tended to go sort of online co-op or online multiplayer. Which, when you're sat there with your family, you want something that you can jostle around on the sofa. Awesome. So, anything else you were playing over the last month, James?
Yeah, I think I mentioned last time Man of Medan, which is that kind of horror, sort of based on the same format as Until Dawn,
Hmm.
last year or the year before. That's been really fun. I've got about 30% of the way through it now, according to my nice little PlayStation counter. That's the one where you're on a boat and you go diving, and then some pirates try and take over the ship. I've got to the bit where we've just crashed into an old ghost ship from the past, which starts the game off. So that's been really fun. I'm getting some progress on that one. And the last few days, I started playing Ratchet and Clank on the PS5, which I've never played before. Always sounded like it was really good and always got really high reviews, but I've never tried it before. It was always on my library but never downloaded list. So Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is actually a really, really, really good game. Awesome graphics, great action. Yeah, I've been really enjoying that so far. It's the first one of those type of games I've played for a long time. So yeah, really good fun. Obviously all done in cartoon style and really entertaining. So hopefully I'll be ploughing on with that one over the next few days when I feel a bit better.
Yeah, that one's on PlayStation Plus, isn't it? I think premium or whatever the one above that is, but in the subscription, and it's definitely been on my list as well. So pleased to hear it's good. What have you enjoyed about it so far?
All of it really. It's really fast paced, which is good. It starts off and throws you straight into it. You start off at like a kind of an award ceremony, and then lots of baddies turn up and you start shooting people around, and then there's some time travel involved and rifts open up and you jump between different dimensions and times and stuff. Just loads of action, not too difficult at first, sort of build you up a little bit, but lots going on. Graphics are awesome. It's probably the best graphics I've seen in a cartoon type game before, so that's really good. And like I said, it's just something completely different. I don't normally play those kind of things anymore, so just nice to do something a bit different, a bit more otherworldly.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's definitely on my list as well. So thanks for the reminder. Sounds like you've been pretty busy, given that it's Christmas. I mean, I was definitely about to say when I sort of started thinking about this episode that I'd hardly played anything this month, and then the last few days I've sort of caught up a little bit myself. I was also on the cartoony vibe. I mentioned last time I was rediscovered Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is a sort of 2D platformer, really quite challenging. It's a Metroidvania, if anyone understands that term. So it's like Metroid or Castlevania that you kind of unlock different skills and then you can go back to previous areas. So it's a beautiful 2D game with actually a brilliant soundtrack. I was listening to it today while I was working. And it's quite an emotional story as well, but it's also that sort of puzzle platformer that I tend to go for. So enjoyed that one. Played a bit of a game called which I was gonna call Gris, but it's actually Gris. Yeah, Adventure Grey, I believe, and is another really beautiful platformer. This time, much slower paced, much easier. It's just some very simple puzzles, really. It's just more about enjoying the journey, and it's sort of watercolor style. So that's a really good one. And then just because I think it's quite interesting that I sort of can't put down or can't stop playing. Finally, Lies of P, which is a Soulsborne type game, so a sort of slow, methodical game, hard as nails. You die all the time, and I've never clicked with these games at all in my. I've tried them before. Tried Dark Souls. I've really enjoyed Star Wars Fallen Order, which was vaguely Dark Soulsy in terms of needing to sort of parry and dodge lots of attacks rather than just charge in. But never really got into these games. And Lies of P is on Game Pass, so I thought I'd give it a try. And it's just a really strange feeling. It's kind of like I kind of want to stop playing because I'm not hugely enjoying the challenge. But then you make a bit of progress. You finally defeat a boss that's been killing you for like 3 days, and that is very satisfying. So I know had some conversations with Scotty about this. He may well be listening and was with us at that weekend away. But yeah, still keep picking it up. So we'll see if I can let that go or keep going. Any other thing I wanted to mention was Fall Guys. Have you played Fall Guys at all?
Rings a bell, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
is it where you fall down through stuff and you've got one of those strangely animated ones? Is it?
Possibly. It's you're kind of a bean, like a sort of blobby type character. It's a bit like Wipeout, the game, basically. If you remember the TV show, not the quiz show with Paul Daniels, I think, but the obstacle coursey type stuff. And it's that's I mentioned Ted's nephew. It's his or Hannah's nephew. It's his like absolute obsession at the moment. So he got me to set up on my Switch while I was with them, and we played sort of side by side, but it was a duo, which was really good fun. And I used to like it, and I'd recommend it if anyone is kind of up for something which is at least sort of fairly lightly kind of multiplayer. If you're on your own, or if there's two of you with two different systems, and it is cross-play, I think, on the various systems. So I think you can play against each other: Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC. It's free, and it's really good fun. It's just silly. You have like 3 buttons. You kind of run, jump, you can dive, and you're just trying to go through these big inflatable obstacle courses. So it's very good, and just in the spirit of Christmas, it was really nice to sort of share that with Ted and sort of spend some time with him, basically teaching me something and trying to get me a little bit less rubbish so that I could keep up with him. That was fun.
The game I was actually thinking about was Human Fall Flat when you mentioned falling.
Yeah,
Human Fall Flat, very different game.
Well, no, it shares a bit of that because it's Full Flat's the one that we played, isn't it? That is sort of kind of ragdoll physics, like
Yeah, yeah.
bit sort of nonsense. Yeah, so it's a bit like that, but slightly less extreme in terms of the kind of flopping all over the place. But imagine that, but trying to get through an obstacle course, and you have, I think, 49 players in each sort of instance. They're very quick. There's no chat, there's no voice chat, or maybe there is, but you don't have to have it because you're not cooperating. So it's as relatively harmless as online can be for kids, probably. Get your settings right, and you're just racing through an obstacle course, or trying to avoid a sort of holes appearing in the floor, that sort of stuff. It's really good, really fun. I'd recommend it if you want to give it a go. Maybe test it out without Joshua, see if you think it would be appropriate. But you can't play it on the same system, annoyingly. But you could play between the one on the Switch, one on the Xbox, for example.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I might give it a go. I'll let you know how it goes next month.
Please do. And if anyone else has any recommendations listening, feel free to send them in. As always, that would be wonderful.
The only one I forgot to mention was Beat Saber. I mentioned last month I was going to play
Oh,
Beat
yeah.
Saber on the PSVR 2. It's actually really good. So it's miles better than Box VR. You sort of have two lightsabers in your hand, which is quite sort of Star Warsing, quite fun. And you whack boxes in the direction indicated by the arrows on the box, and you still duck in different directions and lunge down to avoid obstacles, but you hit boxes with lightsabers. It's actually quite fun. The music's quite good. Sort of modern music. You can also download different DLCs with different bands on it. So there's a Queen one. There's lots of different ones for ones you recognise, but also ones that come in the game. It's really good fun. So I had a good go at that one over the last few days and getting reasonably coordinated at it. I guess it's good for your health gradually if you really get into it. But at the moment, I've just been doing it fairly slowly and getting used to it. But yeah, really good. And like I said before, I find the PSVR 2 so much better than the original PSVR, much less sweaty and much more interesting. And the visuals are a lot better and it's less blurry and it calibrates to the position of your eyes as well automatically. So you can set that a lot better. So yeah, miles better than the original PSVR. And Beat Saber is very good.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've only heard good things about it. Would definitely be one of the ones on my list if I went back into VR. It just need them to make more stuff for it, and I suppose as we will come to, I'm very behind in terms of my gaming backlog anyway, so I probably don't need another system. But yeah, I used to really enjoy that sort of thing. You made me think, James. Is there not? I bet there's a table tennis game in VR that you could hone your already legendary skills.
I'm sure there is. It's probably called VR Pong or something similar. So I'll have to look into that one. But there's not many
Yeah.
PSVR 2 games that are on the sort of various premium or PS Plus packages for free at the moment, annoyingly. There's very few games you can actually get without having to pay loads of money for them. Hence why Beat Saber was free. And it's also a free upgrade from the original PSVR version. So that's one of the first ones I got. But there's not many you can actually download for free. Another one called Humanity. I think that Joshua tried. There's lots of people walking down
Yeah.
a cliff and you're a dog leading them to safety. So that's quite interesting. But apart from that, you have to pay for them. I don't like paying for things because I'm tight.
Is that on? That's on PSVR, or is it Humanity? Because
Yeah,
it's on
PSVR 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's playable on the regular screen as well. I think it got really good reviews.
Yeah, no, we tried both. Joshua found the PSVR part of it a bit overwhelming at first because there's lots of moving around and it does get a bit confusing until you get used to it. But you can also play it with the PSVR 2 controllers, but on the normal screen. And he quite enjoyed that bit because the controllers are really good because they're quite intuitive, but he liked it on the normal screen. So a bit of a hybrid.
Nice. That's something that's much better, isn't it? On the newer system, the old PlayStation Move controllers. Oh my word, they were so bad.
Yeah, they're horrific. But these ones, you've got all the proper buttons on it in the right place. You just slide your hand in neatly. It senses when you've got your hands on there and it all sets itself up. And even better with the PSVR 2, you just plug in one cable. There's no separate camera. There's no separate dicking about with plugging 50 different cables in. It's just one USB-C into your PS5. Bosh.
Gosh, I like it. Yeah, Craig, one of our listeners, I'm sure will be listening again. Hi, Craig. He's got a PSVR 2 as well, and he was raving about it when he got it. I'd be interested to hear if he's still getting good value out of it. I know he and I had talked previously about the Astrobot VR game that was on the first PlayStation VR. That was just absolutely incredible. I don't know if it's been made compatible, but again, if it has, I'd really recommend that. It's excellent game, and it really is something that you just couldn't do on a normal screen. So yeah, well, there you go. Sony, if you're listening, how about putting some PSVR games into your PlayStation subscriptions, particularly looking for ways to differentiate your top tier, which I always forget which way around they are, but premium or extra. I think it's premium, isn't it, the top one?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they could do it, because I think you get access to some like classics, like PlayStation 1, PS2 type games. So yeah, wouldn't be a bad shout. So hopefully they're listening. I'm sure they are, James.
Why
And
wouldn't they be?
respond to the call from this top selling podcast. I did, just to the side, we're going quite long, so I should probably have scrapped this, but I did get a message, an email from someone to the official email address, which I didn't mention to you, which I should have done. He was telling us that we were, I think, 143rd gaming podcast in the UK based on our listenership, which one was quite amusing and did make me quite proud, because that's not bad. But also, based on the number of people who appear to be listening to the podcast, depending on the metrics, because they're not very reliable, that suggests that there are probably about 145 podcasts out there based in the UK talking about gaming. So, onwards and upwards.
We might be in the top 10 of middle-aged gaming podcasts. You never know.
That's true, yeah, because our demographics are very much in the 35 to 45 bracket. In fact, I think exclusively in that bracket.
Experience bracket.
Yeah, it's a good bracket. Well, it's what we're aiming for, so that's fair enough. But as I said, not fully trusting the metrics, because my sister and Hannah have definitely both listened, and it's showing as all male. So unless they've both got a secret that they've kept from me, to worrying levels of success over the years, that's strange. I say worrying. I obviously don't mean it's a bad thing, but that's not. Let's not get myself into into some internet trauma just now. It is, if you don't notice it in your girlfriend, I would suggest. Right. So, with all that preamble, that was really good to catch up. That's kind of the plan for future episodes, everyone. If you listen to the first episode, you know that we focused on our kind of origin story. The plan is to kind of just catch up really for the last month with each other and with you guys, what you're up to. Talk a bit about what we've enjoyed, hopefully maybe draw attention to something that you haven't tried before and want to give a go. We're definitely keen to hear your thoughts as well. But we do have a couple of topics that we wanted to get through this month as well. And the first one, given that it's either is January where you're listening, hello future listeners, or it's nearly January where we're recording, we wanted to talk about our Games of the Year 2023. And as we alluded to, James, I think you are on a similar boat to me. Games of the Year 2023, we've taken as games we've played during 2023, because honestly, I've not played that much that was actually released this year, and I've got a horrible backlog. So yeah, do you want to start off? I think we were sort of aiming for 5-ish, weren't we? But we're going to be a bit fast and loose with that, and just cover off our highlights.
Yeah, I aim for a lot of things in life, Charles, and I very rarely achieve them. I generally overshoot. But yeah, top 5, some of the ones that are definitely in there were, bizarrely, a game called Tavern Master, which is a game on the PC about running a tavern in the olden days. I mean, Josh that one, despite the alcoholic content. So basically, it's like a management game. You set up a tavern, you put tables and stuff and bars and pick your drinks and all of that jazz, and put in heaters and lights. And it's really simple format, but it's really enjoyable. And it's all sort of challenge based. You expand up and you put different storerooms in and build toilets and build a hotel and stuff. And it's, like I said, it's really simple. It's not that involved. It just passes some time very pleasantly. Keeps your brain ticking by a little bit. Joshua found it nice and easily accessible as well. We both played on different days and see who could make the best tavern. And it's really good fun. So that's one of my top 5, even though it's never going to make anyone else's top 5 list in any gaming magazine. So a little exclusive there.
Yeah. What's it on, James? Just for anyone listening.
Oh, it's definitely on Steam on the PC, which is where I played it. I don't know if it's on any other formats, but I think it's just PC. It feels like a PC type of game, so I'm guessing just PC.
Yeah. And this is something you bought, or
was something I did buy on Steam. It was quite cheap at the time. There was one of those regular Steam sales, so it was only a few quid. I thought, wow, that looks fun. I'll give it a quick poke. And I played it for a good sort of 3 weeks solidly, and yeah, really enjoyable.
Cool. Sounds good.
Another random one that you won't find on any other top lists, which is what my aim was for my top 5, was Escape Academy. Me and Joshua both played that quite a lot on the Xbox. We kind of got into escape rooms generally over the last year. I think me and Joshua did one together, and we've done a few at different places over the years, as you will know. But Escape Academy is like an online, well, not really online, but a digital version of an escape place. So you enroll at a university called the Escape Academy, and you solve different bits as you go around. You get set different tasks in different rooms, and you have to solve different bits and escape from various scenarios or various lectures or various places in order to progress through the game. Get a little time limit, you solve little challenges, and then extend your time a little bit each time you solve a part of the challenge. Yeah, really good fun. Again, really simple, but it keeps the brain ticking over. Me and Joshua played it together, so we're trying to work through it together and giving each other little hints and clues if we spot something around the room that might relate to a different puzzle and put it all together. So yeah, good fun. Like an escape room, but obviously digital.
James, just before we move on, that's funnily enough, that's one of mine as well. So interesting. We've both gone for Escape Academy. Did you? It's available in Game Pass, isn't it, on Xbox? I think you can buy it on PlayStation as well, or maybe it's in one of the subs. What did you go down?
Yeah, we had it on Xbox on Game Pass, but there is also a DLC for it where you go to an escape island. So I think extra quid for that one and did that one as well, which is equally fun. Just sort of expands on the original one. But yeah, it's quite an interesting topic. I've never seen another game like it, unless you have. But yeah, I thought it was a bit different. So I thought it was one of my top 5 in terms of recommending it for a bit of fun.
Yeah, no, I'd second that. Like I said, that was going to be one of mine. So, but we haven't bought the DLC, interestingly. So that's good to have your recommendation. There's 2 actually, isn't there? There's another one which is, I think, sort of back in time.
Yeah, time travel type one and a desert island one. I think we've only done a desert island one, I think.
Oh, cool. No, I'm pleased. I might give that one a try myself because I'll mention that. In fact, can I jump in? Is that all right? For Escape Academy, the reason why it makes my top 5 is it's one of the few games that I've actually played through all the way with Hannah. And so we talked last time about how I'm probably quite a solitary gamer mostly, but have been sharing a few things with Hannah recently, and she was a bit of a gamer back in the day, particularly in the sort of 2-dimensional eras, so sort of Mario type side scrollers. But Escape Academy is something we've played together, and to be able to share that and to play that together, and like you said, to sort of recommend or point out different things to each other and help each other get through it was a real highlight for me. So yeah, just wanted to comment on that before throwing that to you.
Cool. Apart from that, I mentioned last time It Takes Two, because me and Joshua played it together, so that was a nice little highlight. It's probably our favourite game we've played together, because you have to work together to save the relationship of the mother and father in this scenario. I think the daughter goes to sleep and then sort of dreams about her mum and dad mending their relationship, and they both turn into little clay models, and they have to do various things to try and mend different parts of the relationship that's gone wrong. And there's a sort of a relationship book who gives advice and sets you little challenges to go and do. So it's kind of a 3D kind of platformer in some ways. You run around solving different bits, overcoming different baddies and obstacles, and gradually mend the relationship. And obviously at the end of it, everyone's wonderfully happy. So it's a nice little ending. Not many swear words in it, so it's kind of suitable for children generally. I think there's one shit in the whole thing, which is not too horrific. And yeah, generally quite enjoyable. And me and Joshua found it quite funny in parts, quite sweet in other places. Sort of makes you a bit tearier in some little bits when they start realizing that they still do love each other in different ways, and they sort of get brought back together by these different adventures. So good fun, nice one for a husband and wife combo, or boy and girlfriend, or equally parent and child. It's generally quite pleasant.
Yeah, and it was I think it came out 2022, so it's fairly recent, and was game of the year for that year. So it's not just you. We've certainly enjoyed it as well, although we haven't got that far. It's a little bit tricky, I think, for us at the moment. But you're in good company. I think it won either at the Game Awards or possibly one of the other big awards shows the year before. It won Game of the Year. So yeah, very well thought of that. Good choice.
That's all right then. I don't feel so bad about that one. That's good. I've also got for Planet Coaster purely because I played it for weeks on end. I think I played it on the PlayStation. He says, but it might have been the Xbox. They look very similar, and they're in different rooms, but I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, it's good fun. It's quite difficult to build a coaster from scratch, but the actual basic mechanics of building a theme park using the normal templates is good fun. Again, not too difficult, not too horrifically challenging, but just a nice, slow paced. Spend a couple of hours each evening, just sort of putting different rides in and different shops and different facilities and analyzing what people want and where they want it and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, again, fairly campaign based. There's lots of different tasks and targets to meet in order to expand your theme park. And in the end, quite an enjoyable little jaunt through. Kind of reminiscent of the old kind of theme parks from the olden days, but Planet Coaster is obviously the new flashy version of that one. And yeah, really good fun. I just enjoyed it. Joshua played it for a while as well, but didn't get quite as into it as I did. So I carried on from there and played it, like I said, for a few weeks. So really good fun and a different type of game than what I would normally play. But yeah, good fun.
Nice.
What's that, number 4? I've got one more, haven't I? Oh.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Planet Coaster looks like it's on most platforms. I was just
Yeah.
just dig around. In theme park, I used to always give people too much salt, and then they threw up on the roller coaster. Is that still the same sort of problem?
Yeah, but the more salt you put in, the more drinks they buy. So that's yeah, tough challenge, tough challenge. Also similar
Tricky
to Planet Zoo, which is very similar, but in a zoo-based format. So it's very similar to Zoo Tycoon, but Planet Zoo is the next natural progression from Planet Coaster. If you enjoyed one, you probably enjoy the other.
Indeed.
And the last one, I'm not sure which one to stand out particularly, but I think I might go for just for the amusement value, 2 Point Hospital. I really got into that again last year and played that for weeks and months on end. Obviously, I used to enjoy the old version, Theme Hospital,
Mhm.
in the olden
Yep.
days, in previous formats, and 2 Point Hospital is a modern day version of that one. Some of the levels are really similar. Some of the machines are identical to the olden days, but it's just obviously a lot more technologically advanced these days. There's a lot more locations. You can sort of do ones in different parts of the world in different scenarios and formats and temperatures and locations. And it's just really good. It's simple, quite good fun. Again, doesn't require massive brain power, but it's a good way of sort of keeping your brain active, balancing the books, putting bits of kit in, and helping patients out with their mysterious, bizarre diseases. So yeah, probably 2 Point Hospital would be my number 5, although there were lots of other competitors that I could have thrown in the mix, like FIFA 23 and various other bits and pieces. Jurassic World Evolution 2 was really good as well. I enjoyed that one. Loads of games that I've enjoyed this year, but let's go for those.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe. There's a lot of strategy there, which is maybe is that how you would lean? I think you said that's was it the roller coaster Planet Coaster. You said maybe was not the type of game you play, but you've got a few strategy ones in there.
Yeah, it's a really good point on reflection. Yeah, that's exactly the type of game I play. Ignore me.
It wasn't, I'm not calling you out here. It's just I just tried to show I'm paying attention after looking something up while you were talking, and then feeling like I sounded like I was just.
I wasn't even paying attention when I was saying it, so I'm glad that you did. Very impressive.
Well,
So yes, let's say that I have an eclectic taste, and sometimes I play strategy games, and some days I play games that just fill some time. So yeah, let's
yeah, that's good. I tried to play one of the ones I sort of dabbled in this year was Age of Empires 2 came to console, sort of part of Game Pass, and it was really fun but incredibly complicated on a controller, and they've done really well to sort of map the different functions. But with that one, it is a full-on resource management type, more of a you're sort of growing your armies and like developing your structures and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I just don't think I've got the discipline, I guess, to see it through. So no, always interesting to hear your thoughts. Okay. Well, I mentioned Escape Academy was one of mine, so that might have by default won our recommendation of the year. Not that I think we would necessarily go with that. But my others say similarly. I thought I'd gone for a mix, and I can see a very clear theme here. So useful little exercise to get to know ourselves, as well as hopefully for the listeners to get to know us a little bit. My first thing, and potentially the best experience, was Red Dead Redemption 2. Finally played it this year, or finally finished it this year.
Hmm.
Uh, so I actually started it in 2021 and bounced off it. It's quite famously slow going at the start. I think anyone who's played it probably knows what I'm talking about. It's got a very very slow burn introduction. I think hours and hours really, where it's really sort of all of the prologue, and you're not really doing that much, if I'm honest. And that just tested my patience, and I was interested. Really loved the first one, or the first Red Dead Redemption, technically, because I think there was a game before that, Red Dead Revolver. But yeah, it's a basically big old epic cowboy fantasy, third person sort of action adventure, and the story is brilliant. I've got to say, it's one of the most sort of engaging sort of cinematic experiences I've had. And you and I have talked about things like The Last of Us on PlayStation. This is a bit longer term storytelling, more like a season of a good TV show rather than a film, but was just brilliant. Slow burn, really got into it, huge, and that put me off playing it. But once I did start playing it, I played a lot of it this year. And I think it's probably about 5 years old now, so it's definitely not up to date, but it still looks stunning, and I'd highly recommend Red Dead Redemption. I put about 60 hours into that game, and if you want to, you can spend easily double that, and then there's a whole online mode as well. But did some of the side quest stuff, but mainly sort of playing through the story, and it's brilliant. So highly recommend it. I'm not the first person to say it. I think there's been a bit of a backlash rather, in terms of the pace of it. But once I got into it, I really enjoyed it. So I recommend it.
Is that when
Have
you
you?
start off riding around on a horse for hours on end?
Quite possibly, yeah. You are part of a gang, and it's a prequel to the first game, slightly confusingly. But you're part of a gang, and the prologue is really sort of the gang trying to find somewhere to settle. And then once you do have a base, then it's a bit more, there's a bit more sort of direction to it. There's a bit less, there's a bit faster pace. It picks up a little bit, but it really hits its stride. And there's some sort of set pieces in that game that I just think are some of the best things I've ever played. Really good.
Lovely.
Change of pace, but also definitely if I was picking a top game that would be in contention, it's Cocoon. Which is so Red Dead. I had to buy, but it was cheap in the sales. I think it was in a lot of the sales at the moment on various platforms. So if you're interested, pick it up now. Cocoon is in Game Pass. It's a 3D puzzle game by one of the people involved in some of my favourite 2D platformers of all time, Limbo and Inside. There's no dialogue. It's really, really clever. And essentially, you are a kind of bug, and it's the puzzle comes from those sort of worlds within worlds. This little bug can carry a world on its shoulder, and you can kind of jump into that world whilst carrying another world with you, which I've probably done a terrible job of describing, but I would highly recommend digging out a kind of video that shows you what I'm talking about. And then you can solve puzzles through that, because moving between the worlds and switching around what you're carrying is the way to progress through the game. Just incredible, really moody, really atmospheric, really fun, really the perfect level of challenge for me. I mentioned Lies of P, and those sorts of games towards the frustrating from my side. But Cocoon was just absolute highlight of the year. It's not massive, but it's got a good level of challenge. And yeah, really enjoyed that. And I like that you mentioned testing your brain a little bit with the strategy stuff. To me, those sorts of puzzle games with a bit of a story or a world that I can kind of get into, that is my jam completely.
Cool.
Taking
I've written that down, Giles.
Yeah, no, have a look. It's really fun, and it's one of those games that at the start it appears quite simple, and then things sort of layer on each other. But it's never. It's not that the controls ever get particularly sort of complicated or cumbersome. It's still very simple, but it's just the thinking through how things interact with each other in multiple worlds, which makes it sound a bit multiverse, which I guess it is in a way. But yeah, recommend it. Another one of mine, Planet of Lana, also was in Game Pass. Also a puzzle sort of based game. It's more of a puzzle platformer. I mentioned Limbo and Inside when I talked about Cocoon. They're two-dimensional, side scrollers. Planet of Lana is the same, so it's very like those games. But whereas those were quite dark, this is a very sort of beautiful watercolor picture again style, and people say it's very much inspired by the sort of Japanese animation Studio Ghibli type look. I can definitely see that. But gameplay wise, it's very much in the Inside and Limbo style. That's quite a lot easier compared to something like Cocoon, I think, in terms of the puzzles are quite gentle. But it's a really fun playthrough. There were a few points where I needed to really think about the sort of physics or the sort of sequencing of doing stuff. And yeah, another good one to just kind of sort of palette cleanser type game. If you're playing something bigger or if you don't have much time, it's quite easy to just play a little bit and then drop off again and then come back to it. So that's my fourth one, if we include Escape Academy. And then lastly for me is actually another. So Cocoon was released this year. So I think Planet of Lana was actually as well. So maybe I'm not as out of date as I think I am. But the one sort of big game that was released this year that I actually played, finished, and loved was at the start of the year was Hi-Fi Rush. So this is Xbox exclusive. I think it's on PC as well, as they tend to be. And it's a rhythm action game, which you mentioned Beat Saber. So it's just with a controller. It's just a regular game, but not sort of motion controls or VR or anything like that. But it's very musical. So it's an action game, a bit like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or that sort of thing, if anyone's played those. Lots of kind of fast-paced action, melee combat, so not shooting, mostly sort of smashing. You've got a sort of guitar. It's a very weird story, quite Japanese kind of anime type story, fighting the sort of evil corporation, classic trope. But it's all set to music, and if you time your attacks on the beat of the music, you get additional impact, or you get sort of additional rewards for doing that. So really good fun, really good as just an action game and a bit of a platformer here and there, 3D, but also just some really cool sort of music-based moments. And James, you'll probably like to hear that one of the bosses you fight to Invaders Must Die by The Prodigy.
Oh, nice.
So that probably gives you a flavour of the sort of game. It's yeah, loads going on, very bright. I'm not sure how sweary it is, but it's not sort of, there's no blood or anything, so it might even be relatively family friendly. Please look that up if you're listening. It might not be. I don't really pay that too much attention, but it's really, really good. I'd highly recommend that. And again, that's in Game Pass. So those are my five. Quite heavily skewed towards Game Pass, I've noticed. Heavily skewed towards platformers. And my honourable mentions, you said, James, there's a few that could have made your list. quite a few of them are similar sort of puzzle platformers, so that's probably where I think I skew. As well as just shouting out that I have actually played some stuff on PlayStation, but tended to drop off it. So Death Stranding, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, I think it's called, Bridge of something or other. Yeah, those I really enjoyed, but didn't play that much of, and just found myself drifting off, so they couldn't make my list.
There we go. Well, it's a kind of 9 interesting recommendations between the two of us, so it's not too bad. Well, I was also going to say, I asked Joshua earlier what his favourite games in the year was, and he said Hogwarts Legacy. So Hogwarts Legacy was a really awesome game, to be fair. We actually had to pay some money for that one because it wasn't on Game Pass at the time, and probably still isn't because it's quite a big game. But it might be, have a look. So we kind of played that together, and he loved that one. He finished that start to finish and had a great time playing Hogwarts Legacy. So that was definitely one of the best games of the year, he said, in his mind. And obviously, apart from that, he likes the normal Roblox rubbish, but Hogwarts Legacy was probably the best paid-for game that he actually played this year.
Well, you just made me very happy. Partly, I think Joshua has as well. So thanks to Joshua for contributing towards the show, but also I got it for Christmas.
There we go.
From Santa, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one myself. So that's good to hear. And yeah, I think it was the best-selling game of 2020. What was it? 2023. I knew I shouldn't have said a date. I just embarrassed myself. Yeah, I think it was the best-selling game of the year. So
it's quite a big franchise.
Yeah, fairly. But it's supposed to be good as well. It's not just a cash-in, is it? It's quite.
You can also design your own character, so you can actually make your own character from scratch. So Joshua may want to look like himself because you don't play as Harry Potter. Obviously, you play as a different character and it's a completely different story, using the same sort of locations and similar spells and stuff, but it's a completely separate thing from the Harry Potter film. So it's a whole different genre of the same thing, and it's good fun. You mentioned getting that for Christmas. I got The Last of Us Part 1 for Christmas. Finally, I mentioned before. I said me and Sarah played through Part 2 together, but I played through Part 1 on my own, traditionally on the PlayStation 4. So I was always keen on getting the PlayStation 5 version so we could play through from scratch the Part 1 that she hadn't really seen before. So yeah, she's going to give that a go, and we're going to play that together once I find a spare lifetime to play that together.
At least one's quite a bit shorter, I think, than the second one. It's still quite a decent length, but it doesn't have that. It's more straightforward. I think is probably the way to.
Yeah, and the start's really good as well, as you know from last time. I sell lots of stuff on eBay as well, so I've played The Last of Us Part 1 on PlayStation 3 quite a few times as well, because I always use that to test out PlayStation 3 consoles. So I've now have played on the PlayStation 3, 4, and 5, all in different remastered versions. So we can make a nice comparison as to how different the graphics and the gameplay are between the 3 different formats. And but the actual gameplay itself is still very similar. It's just generally awesome.
Yeah, it's a brilliant game, isn't it? And I think more people have maybe discovered it through the TV show and then go back to the first one. So they're in for a treat, and enjoy. Awesome. Yeah, we were going to talk about what we got for Christmas, but I think we've gone a bit long in general. So nice to squeeze that one in. Cool. The other thing we were going to say, and we can't really do it next month, so we're going to have to do it this month. But apologies, we try and hit 45 minutes to an hour. I think we're going to go a little over this time. But gaming resolutions, James, have you got any, as we're in January, anything you have thought of in terms of your gaming habits that are looking forward to even in 2024?
Yeah, so the eagle-eared listeners will notice I mentioned one earlier in the podcast. So if you can remember what that was, all power to you, because I've completely forgotten. But I have mentioned one already, which I flagged at the time. The other one is to play through some of the stuff that's on my in the library on the PS5. I tend to go through the app on my phone every now and again when I'm bored for 10 minutes to see if anything new has come on the PlayStation Premium or wherever else. It means I don't have to pay for it. And if it has, then I stick it in my library and then just don't ever get around to downloading and actually playing some of them. So there's some quite big games in my library, like Horizon Forbidden West and God of War I've still never played. and Ghost of Tsushima I've never played. So there's some massive games in there. Even Grand Theft Auto 5 I've still never played properly. It's all waiting to be action. So in the new year, I want to set a bit of time aside to actually play some stuff, either on my own or with Sarah or with Joshua, to actually, instead of just staring at the TV, looking at some mind-numbing dramas from America, might as well just actually play some games and set aside a bit of time to play some of these classic games which I've been meaning to play for the last however many years. So that's probably my big resolution, is to do more gameplay, but also secondly to play more with Joshua. Like I said, now we've got the Switch over the Christmas period. There's lots of games we can do together on there. So we've got the Zelda game on there, Tears of the Wild, which looks really awesome. We've not started yet. So again, the kind of game we could probably play together as a family. Because obviously you can watch it on the TV, but you can also play it separately as well. So play more with Joshua, play more with Sarah, just generally do more.
Excellent. Oh, well, that's handy for the podcast. Thanks, James, for showing dedication. But good news in terms of the future. Is it Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, the new one, Zelda?
It's the one that's not the new one.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. So interestingly, we've got quite a lot of crossover there, because I've owned Breath of the Wild for quite a while, and there's another one that I was really enjoying but sort of dropped off, and that's on my list to pick it up and finish it off. So maybe we can compare some stories. That might be something to cover in future episodes. So thank you for that. And just to show I was listening, or at least could vaguely dig it out of my brain while you were going through your resolutions, the one that you said before was to get your PC fixed. So
Yeah, that's a really good one. Thanks, Evan.
I never listened to, because yeah, I
I
was.
would have forgotten if you hadn't mentioned it, so I'm glad you mentioned it. I can get it fixed now.
That's fine. Well, yes, I'm not going to be able to fix it because I'm absolutely useless, as you know, at anything technical. But I can at least, prompt you towards the company.
Any different ones for you, G?
Yeah. Well, it's annoyingly similar, really. I'm also sat on a backlog, and I think I was trying to think about this, if it's actually sort of just not getting around to things, or it's making bad life choices, really. Um, I I think I've been put off, especially the bigger games I mentioned for Red Dead. I was kind of put off starting it because I knew that I've got this habit of, if I've started something, I kind of want to finish it. Not to be mistaken.
Mastermind.
Sorry?
A bit like Mastermind. You started so you're
Yeah. Well, some people might mistake that for being a complete finisher. I'd strongly disagree with that, as anyone who's ever worked with me will know. But I think it's more a slightly obsessive, compulsive type behavior, where I really, especially if it's story driven, I really want to see what happens. And it struck me quite recently that I could just look it up if that's the point of it. And I'm sort of bored of the game itself. So I'm just going to try and do that a bit more. So just to be a bit different, because I've also got play more of the stuff that is sat in my backlog. And the angle I'm going to take on it is also stop playing stuff when I'm not enjoying it, and thus move on to I got posh all of a sudden. Move on to the other things that are sat there, and maybe I've been put off starting because I feel like I'm going to have to play them for 100 hours or however long they're going to be. So just try them. If I'm enjoying them, keep playing them. If I'm not enjoying them, stop playing them. Seems like a kind of common sense type of resolution to have.
So to kind of join that resolution is to start playing more games and then look up the endings.
Yes, start playing more games and also stop playing more games. that's our resolution combined. And the other one for me is just actually make more use of my PS5, because I very nearly didn't resubscribe to PlayStation Plus this year, because I have hardly used it in the last 12 months. And that's a real waste, because, as you said, there's some really good stuff there. I've got stuff built up through sort of just bag seeing all the games on PlayStation Plus Essential.
Yeah.
And I've got the subscription, and it was a bit of a bargain, so I did go for it again. So this year I'm going to have to make use of that subscription, or not to be able to justify it next time. So hopefully we've got some work going on in the house. There'll be a bit more space and the PS5 currently is up in my office, or rather at my little desk in the corner, rather than on the main TV. So it will go in it'll have a bit more of a decent spot to be in the future, and that'll mean I hopefully get to play a bit more. So we'll see. So yeah, start playing more games, stop playing more games, and for me, make a bit more use of the stuff that I've got in the PlayStation 5.
And cheat and look at the ending. Excellent.
Well, you say cheat, James. You're not helping me here, because that's exactly the sort of mindset that leaves me finishing some really Assassin's Creed Syndicate played last year. Not very new Assassin's Creed game. I've always had a bit of a mixed relationship with them. I kind of enjoy them up to a point, and I ignore all the guff around collecting feathers and stuff and just crack on with the game. But Syndicate, I was really quite bored of about 3/4 of the way through, and yet I finished it. And because I am an idiot and had downloaded or paid for the like Game of the Year edition or whatever it was, I also then played through the DLC.
Wonderful.
Which just feels completely irrational when I'm sat on multiple Game of the Year contenders from years gone by, or things I actually really do want to get to. So yes, that's my lesson for myself for this coming year. Well,
I see the logic, Giles. That makes sense. Some reflection. Well done.
Thank you. Well, not just thrown together. This is carefully thought out.
And also, in the theme of normal New Year's resolutions, I will also say I do more exercise. So I will play more of Beat Saber and find some other things I could do exercise-wise on the PSVR 2, and probably the Switch now as well. So yeah, I've made a good start by playing some tennis and volleyball and golf and a bit of Beat Saber. So I should do more exercise using technology as my means of achievement.
I like it. This is brave, though, James. You remember this is going out. This is being recorded. So we have to stick to these things now.
Oh yeah. Play more and pretend it's exercise. Perfect. I can do that.
Good plan. Awesome. Okay, well, we did have a couple of other things we could cover, but I've just looked at the time and we have gone very long today. So I think we're going to part those ones. They're not so desperate for this month. James, anything else that we were going to talk about that we haven't?
But the length is deep today, so it's always better to go slightly too long rather than slightly too short. But it's not good to go far too long. So let's stick to where we are. We've reached a nice little medium ground, I think.
The dinner gong is going in the background from the west wing of your mansion, and you need to go. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, well, that's the show, everyone. If you enjoyed it, please remember, and I say if you enjoyed it, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it and you made it this far, what are you doing? I mean, that seems a bit sort of masochistic, if you ask me, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Please remember to tell your friends and to like and subscribe to your usual podcast provider. You can also follow the show. You can follow the show even and get in touch on social media. We're Aches and Games. That's ACHESANDGAMES. And again, we would love to hear from you. We really do appreciate your feedback, your comments, and it's really interesting to hear what you thought about what we covered in each episode. James, before we go, do you want to plug anything or remind everyone how to get hold of you?
Not greatly. If you want to get hold of me, you can come to my house if you want to. We've got loads of cheese left over and some Baileys. Got some low-fat Baileys for Christmas that probably needs using up. Never had low-calorie Baileys before, so come pop round. Everyone's welcome. If not, look me up on social media at what was it? What's it called? You Have to Laugh with a 2. That's it. Blimey. It's only been there for 8 years. Can't possibly remember that one. And apart from that, just give me a ring. WhatsApp me. Yeah, lovely. Enjoy.
I love it. You're gonna have thousands of listeners camped outside your house now, demanding low-calorie Baileys offset with cheese. That's a really weird mental image that I've now got for myself. If I can shake that, everybody, I'm Giles Nicholson on Giles Went West on socials, threads, and all kinds of other stuff. I've been signing up to every single Twitter alternative to try and break the cycle, but I'm not sure it's working just yet. Also, Giles Went West on Xbox and PlayStation Network. Please don't turn up at my house. We don't have Baileys, low calorie or otherwise. And we do have lots of leftover stuff, but I'm greedy and I quite want to eat it myself, I'm afraid. How's that for sharing with the listeners? That's very mean. But yeah, that's the episode. We'll see you next month. We try and land the first Monday of the month. We've committed to that, so we're stuck with launching this episode on the 1st of January. Hopefully you're listening. Hopefully we've not been too loud for those that are aches of your own. But see you next month for more aches and games. Cheers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Woo!